Previously on Designing Spaces Special Edition Part 1.
Melissa and I originally got our licenses, firearm licenses, close to 5 years ago.
We did handle the gun.
But as far as being ready to purchase, I think we both were still a little hesitant.
We were very hesitant.
Yeah.
Who's nervous?
I think everybody's a little,
A little bit apprehensive and nervous, and I think that's normal. You guys are going to be journeying to the Sig Sauer Academy tomorrow. I will see you at the range.
All right.
Yeah?
All right, yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yep.
So excited to have you here at the SIG Academy, and it's going to be an awesome day for you.
This is our beginning class for people who have never fired a handgun before. The only way that this will fire is if I press the trigger to the rear.
When you drop that magazine out, there's no bullets in the gun after that.
Always check. So I'm going to lock it to the rear. Chamber, magwell, breech face. All right, I know it's unloaded.
Here we are on the live fire range.
Are we ready for this practice?
Yes.
Pick up the gun with your dominant hand. Insert the magazine into the pistol. When you're ready, go ahead.
Jeez.
Did you get what you came here for?
Yes.
And I'll see you guys at Shooter's Outpost.
All right, yeah.
Now that the Lapointe family has been given the essential training on how to handle a firearm, it's time for them to go shopping. Hana is taking them to one of her favorite retail gun stores in New Hampshire, Shooter's Outpost, a female and veteran-owned business offering a large selection of firearms and over 20 years of experience.
Here they are.
Great.
Carrie
Hey,
and
guys.
Jim.
Hey,
Meet
guys.
the Lapointe
Hey, Jim.
family.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Pleasure.
How are you? Carrie? Nice to meet you. How you doing?
Pleasure. So the store is amazing, as you can tell. There's so much in here to look at. Carrie's going to help us today walk through kind of the entire process. I don't want to take any more time here. Let's get going.
Sounds great.
Follow
Thanks.
me.
Yeah.
Look at all this, guys. So over the past couple of days, we've really focused giving you as much information on handguns because your goal was to bring a handgun back to the home for home defense.
Right.
But as you can see, there's so much more to the firearms industry.
Wow. Yeah.
So much more product to look at. So we're gonna have Carrie kind of take you around and start thinking about, you guys had the luxury of coming to the academy, being introduced to firearms in the dry capacity, kind of learning about them, then taking to the range, shooting them, formulating an opinion on what you liked, what you didn't like. Could you imagine coming to this store as a first-time handgun shopper without any of that knowledge or introduction?
I would definitely feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
There's so many things to
So
look at.
one piece of advice I would tell you is default to your sales reps. They do this all the time. They have so much knowledge.
Thank you.
So Kara's gonna take us around, show us all the good stuff she has in her shop.
We have used firearms where a lot of people find that an excellent resource for first-time purchase. We have our new firearms over here. We don't want you to make the same mistakes that other people have made. Coming into a store, feeling overwhelmed, and not asking the questions and going home with something that you regret. It's like an investment.
Thankfully, we knew what you were looking for. Your goal was home defense. Your goal was to purchase a handgun to introduce into the home, something that the family felt comfortable with.
So let me ask you, do some people have multiple safes around the house, or is it better to have it at one spot for everything?
Some people put a large safe in their basement, a storage locker basically, to house all of their firearms, whereas if you're wanting a firearm for home defense, you may want something closer to you in the bedroom that's smaller, lockable, and easily accessible.
So they would just have that one main
Correct.
on that one and then the others put away.
Exactly.
Okay.
Always go for the safe one size up at least than what you think you need. And over here we have our SIG section.
We still want to give you guys some time to look through all of the SIG selection that Carrie has at her store. And then we'll kind of discuss what you came up with last night.
So the smaller one, I noticed yesterday, had a little bit more of a kickback.
Yes.
Now, would all the small ones have the same effect?
Typically the frame of a small handgun, it's going to be lighter, and therefore it's going to give you a little bit more recoil, which is what that kickback that you're feeling. Whereas a heavier firearm is going to give you a little bit more stability when you're holding it, and it's going to be easier to aim and usually a little bit more comfortable in your hands. The purpose of a smaller one is typically for concealed carry.
Right.
But if that's not something that you're looking for today, you're looking something for the home, it may be the larger firearm that is going to be more comfortable for you.
Yeah, let's check them.
Well,
Let's
do
check
we
some
want to
out.
start holding some more guns and
Yeah.
seeing what maybe
Did you hear me say yes yesterday? I would have, during the day, I would have said no. Jeez.
Yeah, good point.
All right, so enough of me talking. I'm gonna give you guys some time to browse. That's what you're here for, right? Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Thank you, guys.
Coming up next, the Lapointe family makes their final decision, and Hana breaks down the proper way to store your gun at home.
So you guys had time to shoot the guns yesterday, which you had kind of narrowed your search. But now that you've had time with Carrie today at Shooter's Outpost, do we have any questions before you make your final purchase?
I feel like I was comfortable with all of them after the end of the day yesterday, and I think that the one we choose will just have to practice with, and I'll be comfortable with whatever one we decide to choose.
I like it. Good answer. I knew you were going to come up with that.
She was the best shooter, and she's compromising for the
I can
family.
shoot with anything. She's basically saying no. Oh, pro. Yeah.
The women are typically the better shooters.
There you have it from the expert.
We listen.
Yes.
So I'm just curious, for a gun like the 320 Compact, I was wondering if you could get the red dot as an accessory after the fact that you purchased it, so you don't need to purchase it like with the red dot on for sure.
If you see on the top of your 320 X Compact there, it already has it slide milled. So you can absolutely make it after, after purchase of the red dot and have it put right on the gun if that's something that you guys decide that you want to accessorize after the fact.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, considering the red dot made a big difference for me,
Yes.
I can see us purchasing that at some point.
At some point.
To go with the other one. Yeah.
It does. It helps.
Yeah. Definitely.
So if you guys are, feel comfortable and with your final selection, Carrie can take Glenn over and start getting the paperwork started.
Sounds good.
There's a couple more accessories that we should check out to meet your goal of home defense, so that when you get home, you are 100% ready
Perfect.
to rock.
That's what we're looking for.
With your new products and all your new information.
Awesome.
But the product was
Oh, which one?
Come on, Glenn.
320 Compact.
Very nice choice.
All right, guys, so ammunition could technically be its own class. There are so many different kinds. But for your purposes, we're gonna stick to a defensive ammo. That was your goal for a gun in your home for home defense. So I'd recommend the Sig Sauer 9mm, 147 grain hollow point ammo for you guys to load into your gun when you get home. So let's check in with Carrie and see how the background check is going, and if she's ready to check out, and then we can make our way back to the house.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Carrie, so I think for today's purchase, they're gonna go with the ammo and the firearm. So here you are for the purchase. I'll let Carrie kind of walk you guys through the remainder. And
all right. Great. So we got your background check back. All right, so I just need to verify the serial number on your firearm.
Great.
And what we'd like to do is we tell everybody, take a picture of the end of your box. It has all the information about the firearm on there, and then you have it stored on your phone or electronically somewhere.
Okay.
So I got your receipt right here. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Serial number's right on here.
Yep.
Okay. So put that in a safe place. Don't leave it with the firearm.
Got it.
All right. There's always going to be questions, and you know where to come to get the answers, okay?
Definitely.
Definitely.
All right.
Thanks, Carrie.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Enjoy.
Bye, have a good one.
You're
Thanks.
very welcome. Thank you.
It looks like the Lapointes are officially gun owners. Now that they're fully equipped and armed to protect themselves, Hana wants to make sure that they all understand the importance of storing your firearm and ammunition both safely and efficiently. With families spending a substantial amount of time at home, either working or homeschooling their children, it's more critical than ever for gun owners to implement proper storage and safety techniques.
You've had a lot of time this week to talk about firearms. You purchased your firearm.
Yes.
We found the one that fits best for the family, right? So lots of learning, lots of thought process, but we're not done yet. So the next step for us is to figure out where in your home is going to be the safest and most efficient place for the family should an emergency occur. You identified the living room, potentially the kitchen, or the bedroom. So I kind of want to walk through those places with you guys and come up with an end solution that everybody understands would be best for your house, your setup, and your family environment.
I'm excited to figure out where we should put it.
Perfect. Well, let's get this gun introduced to the home.
Yeah, for sure.
Rewinding back to when you guys were at the academy, you learned safe gun handling.
What do you think would be a safe direction in your home if you were to handle a firearm?
Pointing down, I would guess would be the best.
Yeah, typically pointing down at the ground, the bullet discharges, goes into the floor, usually harmless.
Those safe gun handling rules apply no matter your environment. No matter if you think the gun is unloaded, if you think it's loaded, or you're certain it's loaded, we still apply those same safety parameters. So I'll walk you kind of through the transition from your new firearm into its storage compartment and refresh those safety rules that you learned on the range so you understand what that looks like for home. So some things that we have to think about before I actually access the firearm is what is a safe direction in the bedroom here? So remember, when you were at the range, your safe direction is described as a location that I could discharge a round into that is going to cause 0 personal injury. I don't know what is upstairs. I do know that you have a foundation under us, so for today's purposes, that's where I'm going to point the gun.
Okay.
So orange carrot would indicate that the gun's not loaded. So when you guys were at the range, you learned get a good solid purchase on the firearm, establish your firing grip anytime you're handling that gun. So I'm going to access that gun. I'm going to keep my trigger finger off the trigger. The rest of my fingers are wrapped around the bottom of the grip so that I have a good purchase on it and I can operate it if I need to, okay? So I'm here, my safe direction is down. As I'm transferring, I'm conscious of my personal body as well. I never want to point the front of my gun, even though I think it may be empty, at myself included in that personal injury, right? Personal injury could be anyone. So then when I transfer it to the safe itself, again, I'm going to keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction, and I'm just going to remove my hand from the grip itself and place it safely down into the safe.
Perfect, yep.
So for home defense purposes, you guys have decided that that is the arena that you want to go. We had talked through if your safety was compromised, time is not on your side, right? So we know that we need to get into that safe fairly quickly, and we need to gain access to that gun fairly quickly. So with that being said, you guys have decided that the safest way and the most efficient way for you to store your home defense gun is completely loaded.
Yes.
And what we're going to do next is we're going to kind of test those time frames through a scenario.
Okay.
To see how you guys feel and the comfortability behind if a circumstance were to arise, you feel your safety is compromised and you have to get to that firearm, kind of walking through that process and what that looks like for you.
Great.
Are we ready for
Yeah,
this?
we're ready.
Okay.
We're ready.
Coming up next, Hana runs the Lapointe family through a series of drills to prepare them in the case of an emergency.
All right, so we're gonna walk you guys through a mock scenario.
Right.
Accessing a gun to protect your life inside your home is like your worst day ever and should be the last resort. So we want to make sure that we start with the outside of the home first, make sure that that is secure, proper locking on windows, proper locking on doors, potential security system. So we have plenty of time to understand what's happening on our property before it actually happens. And then we work ourselves in here. So for today's purposes, we are going to walk through that scenario. That is worst case scenario. We've made it here and our safety is compromised. Someone potentially is inside our home. And let's kind of walk through that process so you guys can feel and see what that's going to be like for you, and also understand like the time it takes to get these things done. So our scenario for lack of being able to sit up too much today is I'm gonna knock, and that's going to indicate to you guys that the intruder is at your bedroom. So we've already identified Melissa's gonna be the 911 caller, so that is her job. So when you hear me knock, someone wakes up, you're gonna nudge her, she's gonna nudge you, whichever way it goes. Your job is to access the firearm. Melissa's gonna call 911, and after she's on the phone with 911, if she has the time to call upstairs to the kids, should they be here? Maybe not, we don't know.
Okay.
So go ahead and hop in the bed. Okay. So remember, time restraints are working against us. We don't have a plan. We didn't recognize, for whatever reason, all of our external safety factors have failed us. The person has made it here, they're at your bedroom door, and then think through how long and how that feels as you're working through this exigent circumstance.
Okay.
Time out. So I verbally counted around 6 seconds. How long did that feel to you?
Forever.
Yeah, it felt longer than 6 seconds.
Eternity,
Yeah, it did.
right?
Yeah.
So at 6 seconds, Glenn had gotten the safe open. And you, if we were to actually call out, are probably maybe ringing, if not maybe gained access to a 911 operator. But certainly haven't told her about your emergency yet. So a pretty lengthy process, right?
Especially if
someone's already here. A lot to think about, a lot to kind of pine through. Rehearsing these type of things are important. They're important to engage the kids in the rehearsal as well. What's your feelings, emotions, questions?
It's like adrenaline rush.
It is.
You know what I mean? As soon as like.
Yeah, and then to make a good decision in that time frame is definitely something we're going to have to practice and feel comfortable with, I think.
Yeah. So then you think back to your range time. Cool, calm, and collected on the range, right? Perfect environment.
Right.
Nobody's threatening your life at that moment, right? So now think about what's gonna happen to your body when you're nervous, scared, adrenaline's going, someone's here.
Right, it's a total different feeling.
So
you just gotta know quick enough to be able to
100%. So you guys had one range day, but think about how important it is to continue your training so that if something should happen, heaven forbid, worst case scenario, we are still able to operate and utilize that gun as accurately as possible under those circumstances.
After going there and learning, I think it's very important to continue like anything else. If you want to get better at it and learn more, you go do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So.
When was the last time you guys have ridden a bike?
Yeah, it's been a while for me.
Okay. So everybody typically learns to ride a bike as a young kid. That's our mode of transportation, right? But if you have a gap in riding your bike and then you go get on the bike, like getting your balance and the pedals down, you're like, whoa, what happened? What's wrong with me? I feel like I'm gonna crash. I don't have any control. That happens in firearms training too. It's a perishable skill. If we don't continue to do it, we're gonna feel that uncomfortability behind the gun. Also, those first-time jitters when you guys shot at the range, those first-time jitters are gonna come back if we don't desensitize ourselves to it and put ourselves in that situation often. So I will get off my soapbox, but I will leave this conversation by saying continuing your training is as equally as important as starting your training.
Right.
Okay, makes sense. So.
We'll be there.
To learn more about the Lapointe family's journey and 6 Hour's elite line of firearm products, visit designingspaces.tv.
So Hannah just left. Super excited about the whole process, the whole experience that we got to go through, the purchase of our firearm. I think everybody here is excited, right? Feels comfortable.
Very excited, very comfortable.
Right.
Very comfortable, yes. I'm excited that that now that we've done it and we've gone and did the training and did whatever, that I feel safer having it in the house, knowing that it does take time and things that you have to practice at home and continue practicing and continue going to the range and continue all that stuff. It just doesn't happen overnight. So it's been a process to get here, and it's going to be a process to learn the whole process. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Did you guys have fun doing this? I mean, this is a good experience.
Yeah, I had a blast. My favorite part had to be the gun range, no doubt in my mind.
Knew you were going to say that.
I really enjoyed how they selected a few weapons, not just one firearm. So we kind of got used to using different ones. It's not just one singular one and you're done. And yeah.
Figured you'd like that. I knew that was coming.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
How about you, Lex?
I'd probably have to say, probably just being able to do this with you guys, have you guys there alongside to ask questions. I think that was probably my favorite part.
Yeah, well, the question is, who is the best shooter out of all of us? That's the question.
Me!